We're very pleased. Our scores for the testing that came in last spring, we've been really excited all summer, really, because everywhere you look, we've got great gains, and that's really all you can ask for. Is from one year to the next, you got better. There's some marks. I mean, we'd love to be 90% and 80% and be. So there's times we're not quite there, and you start to feel a little bit bad about it, or whatever you want to call it. But as long as we're taking steps to improvement, that's really all we can ask for, and we get really excited about it. The accountability ratings did come in this past Friday, and we've scored as high as you can possibly score with some specialty designations there, so we're excited about those. The interesting thing about this accountability system is there's a lot of underlying measures like SAT score, ACT score that go into the final numbers, but when you look at the final numbers, you really don't see those specific distinctions. So we're digging in, we're sharing those with our teachers and celebrating, because there's a lot there to be excited about. Our high school got 3 distinctions out of 4 in the academic areas and another couple in something else. So just some very good things there for us to celebrate. Still some work to do in some very specific areas. We know what those areas are. We got to dig a little deeper into the data and start kind of figuring out a game plan for those. But that's part of it, and that's what the principals I have right now enjoy doing, is kind of figuring out where we are and where we need to go and making a roadmap for it. So we're excited about the opportunity.
Now, all the schools met standards, and they met all of the little substandards underneath, but you said you weren't particularly too impressed with that. I mean, you were glad we did that, but you expected that. But, it was like the bar was pretty low on that one.
Well, it's an adjustment from one system to another, and we've got to get used to certain things. In the mindset of the old system, there are some things, for instance, measuring our sub-pops. I mean, we still have some sub-pops, African American, Hispanic, low socioeconomic, that aren't where we want to be. We can look at that data, and if we were still being held accountable in the old way, we'd be in trouble, so to speak. But the old way is gone primarily because of the complaints of what was so wrong with that system. So some of the adjustments have been good adjustments. I mean, they've kind of stopped holding us accountable to one measure only. So that's a good thing, because we'd be right back in that bind if that was the case. They've started comparing us more to schools of like nature, which is a great feature now. So it's a little bit hard to adjust from the old way of thinking, where everything had to be in the 80s and 90s to be successful, and didn't matter who you were compared to. We're not in the 80s and 90s everywhere, and that's a tough pill to swallow sometimes. That's the first thing you kind of look at. But when you dig a little deeper, there's improvement there, and in comparison to schools that are like us, even though we're not in the 80s, 90s, we're performing very well. So those are exciting pieces, and I guess it's just when you look at it with the eyes of old, you're stunned just a little bit, but then again, to look at it through the new eyes, it's pretty exciting.
Yeah, it seems to really hinge on looking at distinctions after getting none, and we got some on every campus now. So
yes, that was a real exciting feature, that we're starting to knock out those distinctions where we didn't last year. We haven't been in this system long, and another hard part of it is, even though we've been in this system, I guess 3 years now, it's changed drastically each year. And I even noticed this morning looking at something, there's going to be a major change again next year. That the math, if we did real well on math this year, which we did, the entire math curriculum is going to be different this year. So next year, whether our scores are high or low, it'll be hard to compare this year to next year, because once again, the entire system is going to be different. So if we have low scores, we'll have to explain it was because of change. If we have high scores, it'll still be hard to claim that was improvement, because it's just a totally different system.
It's hard to find apples and apples in this, isn't it?
It is. It's been a transition. It's been a change. There's some good changes there. There's some possibly not so good changes in the way they hold us accountable. But as it stands right now, we have done as good as you can possibly do. We're not an exemplary school in the schools of old, and that would be where we want to be. But we're knocking on that door, and we're having fun getting better. We're having fun digging into the data and figuring out ways to become better at what we do. So it's exciting.
One of the more puzzling aspects was the kind of the weight of attendance. Despite 95 and 96% attendance at all the schools, we find ourselves in the second and third, what do you call them, quartile of the other 40 schools, and that means a lot. It costs us quite a few distinctions, seem like.
It did, and that's an interesting component. You know, we've monitored attendance for years, and I don't know that we've ever monitored it to the .7 level and that kind of thing. 96% attendance has been good for a long time. I said last night, to dip under that 95 is where you start to see some problems, and I think our lowest attendance last night was a 95.9, so we say we were at 96 or better everywhere. However, you know, we're losing out to some schools that were where we might be 96.3, they were 96.8, and that's a little bit hard to swallow to be at 96 and have to be a little disappointed in it. So we'll look at that. We'll rethink some of the ways we monitor our attendance and that kind of thing, and we'll see what we can do. And end of the day, you know, 96 is pretty good.
I think you really enjoy the detective work of diving into these figures and see if you can get to the root of what's causing them. Yeah, that's kind of something you have to like to do, I would think.
Well, yeah, that's what I like. I mean, they're joking with me in there about all the spreadsheets I like to make, and data is where I have a lot of fun. Former math teacher, so I enjoy, you know, making the roadmap, figuring out the plan, and then living the plan out.
There's obviously a lot to be done, but you feel like we're obviously heading in the right direction with, as you said, a lot of improvement.
I do. I think we're heading in the right direction. We've got teachers hungry it's a lot of fun to, you know, there was a group of teachers interviewed a teacher the other day, and one of the main questions was, you know, how do you feel about desegregating the data? And, you know, our teachers love it. You know, they're hungry for it. They enjoy doing it. And, you know, they're interviewing and asking people, you know, how good are you at it? So, yeah, it's a lot of fun right now with the group of people we have, principals and teachers that love getting better, love working on the work, and love making a difference for our kids. You know, we're 60% low socioeconomic, and that's sometimes a very hard situation. We embrace the situation. We love the situation. We love those kids. But there's a little difference in being 60% low socioeconomic and 10% low socioeconomic. There's more to overcome, so to speak. And our teachers enjoy the battle of overcoming. And our kids are reaping the benefits of that, and you can just see it in the data. We tend to start scoring a little higher as you get in ages, which just means just takes a little longer sometimes to overcome some of the lack of things that go on in the lower grades.